Hey everybody, it's Merlin here, and I decided I'm going to do something that's kind of something I promised I'd do for a while now. A couple of you guys, I think, requested me to do some Gintama first impressions or Gintama reactions or something, and Zoro and Z specifically wanted me to do some more, stuff revolving Gintama, or at least to get into it. Admittedly, it's been kind of slow. As you guys know, I'm kind of into like 12,000 different things, but I've decided I'm going to do some videos, I guess, sort of reviewing or reacting to the Gintama story arcs, because I've heard that they're pretty good and they're sort of the meat of the series. So, though I have been enjoying the filler, I'm going to try and bypass as much of that as I can so I can actually, get to the meat of this within a fairly reasonable amount of time. And so the first one I watched recently was Memory Loss. I'll be honest, based upon the individual episodes of Gintama that I've watched thus far, I don't think it's the best I've seen of Gintama, but I see hints of why people might really like the show finally. So far, before watching this, I think the humor was really good. The parody stuff was really good. A lot of that meta stuff about anime and specific shows. I mean, it was funny, and I like the characters a lot, and I like the world, but we don't really get much exploration of that. It's just kind of a lot of random things happening purely for comedy's sake mostly, which is fine, but, when it's a gag series, I guess, unless you're really into that sort of thing, it's not enough to really hold you, which is why I guess when the show does more serious storylines, it keeps other fans engaged in it consistently. And this one, like I said, I don't think it's the best of Gintama I've seen thus far, but as the storyline goes, it wasn't bad. Basically, Gintoki loses his memory in an accident. The first part, it's basically 2 episodes. The first part is just his friends trying to jog his memory, going around meeting different people. A lot of ridiculous things happen to him. It's mostly just silliness, but nothing really out of the ordinary. But the big change comes at the end of the episode when Gintoki keeps hearing consistently that he was this ultimately carefree guy, didn't really do much with his life, and he kind of feels like, well, I don't really like the kind of person it sounds like I was, so I want to do something different with it. So he decides to cut everybody loose, says he's not going to work with the group anymore, and goes off to work in a factory with a new identity. And that's where it leads into the next episode, where he meets the Shinsengumi guys doing some undercover work, looking for their friend who also lost his memory. So he undercovers, though, that working in this factory, there's this nationalist guy that lost his job and basically lost his entire life's work and his sense of purpose when he was kicked out of the government. So he wants to create the super weapon, all these explosions, which are designed as really cheaply designed looking toys, and create the super weapon to overthrow the government. That's kind of interesting, but it's really quickly brushed over, basically. I think the best thing about this two-parter, though, for me, was the actual pinnacle of the drama, really at both episodes. The couple lines where Gintoki says he wants to cut everything loose was really interesting, though it's kind of hard to judge him because all of his memories of who he was are gone, so it isn't really him. But then what's really cool is towards the end of the second episode, when the bad guy's about to blow everybody to smithereens, his friends come back and they block the path and they say they're here because they want to be there. They don't have anything else they would rather be doing. And it kind of hits him like, if I was this bad person, why would these people risk their lives for me? And there's this really cool design, the shot where there's this tree which represents his life, his consciousness, his soul, what have you, and it's all black and white, but then his friends appear there, and the image slowly filters away from black and white and actually gains color, obviously representing him getting his memory back. But it was a really cool way of doing that, and reaffirming the center of what brought him back were those friendships, which of course is a pretty standard shonen thing, but just the look on his face, the music, the dialogue, that whole sequence was just very well done. It really was, and that height of drama and that character growth at the end there, where he, of course, reaffirms his heroism and defeats the bad guy and just reclaims his place, says, okay, let's go home now. I'm sure that they'll jump back into some more comedy, but I do think there is the possibility of more character development, and I'm sure there is, if we get more stories like this. Now, I don't know if they're all independent storylines like this, where there's no real callbacks to connections, because so far Gintama has been a pretty exclusive series, very episodic in nature, very random, but there are characters that are called back to, events that are called back to, so it does build upon itself, but like I said, it's very early for me to say. Overall, the memory loss storyline, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great by any means. It was pretty good. Like, I found myself engaged. Like, I wasn't really bored by it. I wanted to see where it was going. You know, some of the comedy was good for the most part, but I felt like a lot of really good stuff was just kind of rushed. I felt like there was so much comedy in the first section that they could have honestly cut out one or two of those sequences, and they could have spent more time actually focusing on the actual plot with the nationalist and his terrorism, because they do try to give him this interesting and sympathetic backstory, but like I said, it's so quick that it almost has no meaning, and he's just there to serve the plot. And that jumps back to Gintoki getting his memory back seeming honestly too quick as well. Like I said, some of the scenes were really well done, and it was a decent story. There's definitely potential for good drama there, but on the whole I felt that it was a little too imbalanced between the humor and the drama, so some of it didn't work quite as well as it could have. Like I said, it was okay. I'm looking forward to more storylines. So yeah, those are just my impressions on that storyline. Hopefully I'll make this a consistent thing if you guys like it. And yeah, so hopefully we'll talk about more Gintama in the future. This is just a way to kind of let you guys know I'm watching it, and I'm liking it. Alright everybody, have a wonderful day, and stay magical.